Hello, good evening, you guys, and welcome to Real Talk with Tamara. As you guys come into the room, please do hit the like button. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. Hope that you guys are doing okay. I know that I am. I always express the importance of hitting the like button because the like button helps to keep the video in the algorithm. Okay. So make sure you guys please like, share, subscribe, comment, and all of those fantabulous things. Okay. I hope that you guys are doing okay. I'm feeling good today. I had the opportunity to get out and do some things since I was off. And I was going to go live, and I just got out of class and I saw Hitta was live. And I was like, well, I need to do some recorded videos anyway. So instead of going live, I'm going to upload 2 videos. How about that? And let Hitta rock out on the live tonight. Okay. But anyways, you guys, I wanted to talk about a story that I saw um on of Beyonce, okay? The daughter of Beyonce's longtime stage manager says that she fired her father without severance pay. Now I can specifically remember seeing this man in her documentaries. He had a very big part in her camp as it relates to touring, as it relates to her shows and things of that nature. So he definitely had a big part. Okay, um, and hey, they're saying that the daughter is saying that he worked um 20 something hour days. Okay, and which Beyonce said herself, like when she's on tour, like she goes into a mode of she's up for 48 hours, no sleep, no nothing, just making sure everything is how it should be. I mean, she said she don't eat, she don't sleep, she don't go to the restroom. Like, I'm trying to understand how your body can function for 48 hours with no sleep, unless you're on some type of narcotic. Okay. But here it is right here. It says daughter of Beyonce's longtime stage manager says he was fired without severance pay. If I'm saying her name right, Mary Cooley, um, daughter of Beyonce's longtime stage manager Terry Cooley says her dad was fired after 20 plus years of service. In an emotional TikTok video, Mary says Terry was let go after slavishly working for Beyonce as stage manager and production manager for over 20 years. When COVID happened, there were no tours and Terry was paid sporadically. He had to drain his savings to pay for his family's bills. Terry sold the family's home and moved his family in with his mother. Mary said her father worked 22-hour days while touring with Beyonce. Terry worked with Beyonce since she was a member of Destiny's Child, but she fired him after he collapsed and underwent surgery. They decided that he couldn't keep up anymore. Here we are in 2026, and my dad has been out of work for a few years, Mary said while fighting back tears. I worry about my dad because he put his heart and his soul in Beyonce's career. They cut him loose and fired him after 20 something years of service, after he gave his health and his body to helping her succeed. Mary says her father didn't receive a severance or even a get well card from Beyonce. Where we're at now is my dad is suffering financially and he's suffering emotionally, she explained. Okay, so let's look at it right here. If there's a
I was nervous to record myself and post it. But I'm at the point where why not? So this is a story time, kind of, but also kind of a plea for help from the TikTok fam about my dad and Beyonce. Yes, that Beyonce. Um, so yeah, so my dad was Beyonce's stage manager and production manager for over 20 years. You can look him up. His name is Terry Cooley. And this is him. This is also him. This is back in 2013. This is a meme that went viral on TikTok, on Twitter a long time ago of him. And this is him. And this is actually, I'll link it in the bottom. This is actually a short film that Beyonce had her team make. It's about 2.5 minutes. I encourage you guys to go watch it. It'll really substantiate what I'm about to say. But it was about the work. It's called Mrs. Carter Go for Terry. And it's about the work that my dad did with her and did for over 2 decades. And this is my dad. And this is me and my brothers and my mom. And this was at my graduation. And so that's my family. So here it goes. My dad worked for Beyonce again for a really long time. And throughout those years, he was, the stage production manager. And for those of you who don't know what that position entails, it's everything. She is known for putting on some of the most elaborate, amazing, beautiful tours, concerts ever, and my dad was at the heart of them. There's usually a couple different stage and production managers, one that designs the stage and controls the design of the stage, and then one who oversees the creation of the stage and the actual show, putting on the show, piecing everything together. And that is my dad. He is the heart and soul behind the Beyonce that you guys know, behind the performances and the shows put on by the Beyonce that you all know. So yeah. So around a couple of years before COVID, maybe a year before COVID, my dad, who also tours with other people, whenever Beyonce's not on tour, he's toured with many, many other people. And so at the time he was doing I believe a residency with Mariah Carey in Las Vegas. And there was an incident where, it's kind of complicated, but essentially he collapsed and he was having some issues with his neck, some impinged nerves. They had to take him to the hospital. He had to be taken off the residency. He came home. He ended up having to get surgery. It was a pretty big deal. But the I guess diagnosis was essentially that my dad was overworked. And that's not by any fault particularly of Beyonce or anybody else. My dad's just a really hard worker. And going back, if you go watch this video, it will exemplify that. My dad worked, 22-hour days when he was on tour, and he'd be on tour for months at a time, traveling the world. So you go from airplane to tour bus to working 24-hour days, setting up, starting, closing down a show, sleeping for 3 hours, and then doing it in another city the next day. So my dad worked his ass off my entire life. And as a result, he ended up having some very extensive and severe physical trauma. So he ended up getting treated. He got his surgery, and then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, there were no tours, and my dad got paid on a as work basis. So when there's no tours, there's no money. And so during those couple of years during COVID where there were no tours to be had, my dad had to use his savings to pay all of my family's bills. And that ran out. And so the house that my parents built when I was little and that I grew up in, my parents had to sell it because they didn't have any money. And so they sold their house and moved into my grandmother's house. And then less than a year later, the Hurricane Helene hit and my grandmother's house flooded. And it flooded about 5 feet and my parents were displaced. My grandmother went and moved into my aunt's house, and my parents, by the grace of God, literally, and our church and the connections in our small town, were able to move into a home owned by this man from our community who's been so kind to let them stay there for over a year, during which time my dad has done everything he can to fix the house. But financially, it's just, they're at a stopping point and they can't get back into their home. But nevertheless, going back into how this is relevant to Beyonce. My dad spent a few years during COVID rehabilitating, and he never fully got back to, the physical ability level that he was at before his incident. But nevertheless, he rehabilitated himself extensively, and he was elated when he got a job opportunity to go with Beyonce to a hotel opening, if I'm remembering correctly, in Dubai. Um, and so, this was a big deal. This was the first time my dad had gone back out into the field since his injury. He was excited. He missed his work. He needed the money, right? So he goes out to Dubai. And I can't remember exactly how long he was out there for, but essentially, um, he got fired because of his physical state. The team that was working for Beyonce at the time, and mind you, again, my dad has been not only on Beyonce's team, but one of the head people in Beyonce's team for 20 plus years since he was working with Destiny, since she was in Destiny's Child. Um, they decided that he just wasn't keeping up enough, because he couldn't walk fast enough and he couldn't move quickly enough, even though, there are plenty of positions that they could have given him where he could sit behind a desk and help design the stage, or, have fewer, maybe not be expected to work 24 hours straight, right? But rather than make accommodations, they made the determination to let him go. Um, and okay, so long story short, here we are today in 2026. And my dad has been out of work for a few years. And they have, they being my mom and dad, have hit a financial wall that my brothers and I can only help so much with, because this is the American economy, right? We have to take care of a million things. And I worry about my dad because he put his heart and his soul into Beyonce's career and other celebrities too, but primarily her. Um, and they cut him loose and fired him after 20 something years of service, after he gave his health and his body to feed. Where we're at now is that my dad is suffering financially and he's suffering emotionally because he was basically, you know, my boyfriend compared it to Cam Newton the other night, if you're a football fan. But, those who know that, I guess Cam Newton said once that he knows in his mind that he's done playing football, but he doesn't know in his heart. And that's my dad. Sorry. Sorry. So, anyway, I'll make this short. My dad has given his all to his career, and the fact that it was cut short is really painful to him. And so, that plus the fact that financially it has crippled him has put him in a terrible place that I never want to see someone that I love, let alone my dad, who I look up to and is the light of my life. So, if you could go watch the video, that'd be great. And if you could tag Beyonce and ask her to make things right with my dad, and maybe apologize for disregarding the career that they had, that would be great. I don't know. And if you have anything nice to say that I could pass along to him, that would be great, because he deserves it. And that's it. Thanks for watching.
As a young woman, okay, I guess this is the video.
Hey Derek, on my way down, cab already been advanced. I see myself as someone who basically can get a show built, create a consistent performing environment,
This is her
and
father.
to be connected to the show is really important to me. We create this world out here. It's a little traveling city almost, a little traveling community that goes place to place. There's a certain excitement, there's a certain fulfillment that happens from being out there on the road, seeing the crowd, seeing the product at the end of the day, connecting to the artist and feeling proud of your show. All right, guys, get ready to start the show. Everyone stand by. I stage manage Beyonce probably more than any other artist. You ready, guys? Go again, right? Go. I really care deeply about her well-being and her performing environment on stage. People see mostly results of our work, but not all the things it takes to get our jobs done. And at the end of the day, we get ready to do it again.
My heart goes out to the young lady, and I know, we hate to see our loved ones go through certain things. But at the end of the day, I mean, that's why it is important. That's something that he signed up for. And it's sad. You would want for your job, you would want for your employer to care about you. But at the end of the day, they don't care about them. That's why people always say, when you're at work, people think it's a badge of honor to sit up and say, well, I didn't take I've never taken a sick day. I've never used any of my sick time. I've never, I got perfect attendance. I mean, but you know, you earned the sick time. So what do you think you're getting by not taking time? You have to take care of yourself because essentially that's what Beyonce is doing. She's using them. She's basically paying them so that she could take care of herself and her family, right? I'm sure it's a high level stressful job. It would have been good if she would have given him a severance pay. But was that in his contract? That he would get a severance pay. Hey, it seems very cruel that when a person cannot carry on anymore, okay, they just clip them like that. He can't walk fast enough. He can't do the job that he once did. So hey, we're not going to we're just going to fire him. I mean, to her it's a business, okay, and Beyonce is probably not making the money that she used to make. Okay, unfortunately, she's got advisors and stuff around her. She's got a husband who people has always said that is very cruel, ice cold. Okay, if you can't do anything for him, he does not. He can't do anything for you. Okay, or he won't do anything for you. But here's the thing: it happens all day, every day with these jobs. If you die, they'll have your post up. They'll have your position up in the paper or on the internet before your funeral. That's why you have to take care of yourself first. And I hope as a young lady, it's really is sad. Now, if there's something that was in the contract um, that says that he would have gotten a severance pay, um, then she should give him his severance pay. But if it's not in the contract, that's probably something he should have looked at doing. Right? You would think after working 20 something years with somebody that they would have some type of emotional connection with you. But you're talking about Hollywood and the people in Hollywood, and they're struggling too. You know, they're not making as much money as people would think that they're making. They spend out millions and millions to market themselves, to put on shows, to hire people in the background. She has a really big production. Let's say, they say her tours, make a lot of money. Let's say she made 100 million. Okay. You see all those people that's working behind the scenes. Out of that 100 million, how much did she really bring home after paying all of her dancers, all of her production people? You heard him say they got 4 or 5 different stage managers. I'm sure her dad was making a lot, quite a bit. But stand up 24 hours, it probably equals out to not much. But because you're consistently working. But probably if she made $100 million off of shows, and after she's paid everybody, okay, she may bring home less than half of that for herself. Less than half, I'm pretty sure. Okay. So hey, it's a cold world. It's a cold game. Okay. It's a cold game. I used to have a major Wayne Williams when I was working in Crime Stoppers. He was my major, and he used to say it's a cold game, but somebody got to play it. In this life, you're gonna either be the prey or you're gonna be the predator. You need to decide which one you're gonna be. And I used to think he was so cruel to say something like that. I had this thing about them police officers. They just so low down. you know but that's how the I see now the majority of the people think. You're going to be a prey or you're going to be a predator. You need to decide what you're going to be, and that's exactly how they think, especially in Hollywood. Okay. And unfortunately, he fell prey. Okay. But I'm sure he knew everything that was going to go on. He knew what it entailed when he took the job. Like I said, you would think that after so many years of working hard for people, um, that they would have an emotional connection to you, but you see every day that they don't. So that's why you have to take care of yourself. Okay. Because the music industry is wicked. We see that the industry is getting exposed more and more and more and more every single day. Okay. Anytime you see somebody, and I like a lot of Beyonce's music, say that she has to turn into this alter ego and how her eyes and stuff snaps when she's going into her trance. Um, it's something that's not right. That means her brain probably shuts off who she really is to turn into this person, as she says she does, you know, um, to be able to participate even in a lot of the things that I'm sure she participates into. Let me tell you something. They market this good girl image on a lot of people in the industry because they can market you exactly how they want to. But it has not been exempt for Beyonce. A lot of what they say that every celebrity, especially with her status, has had to do. She has not been exempt from that either. Okay, because she has funders. Okay, she has people that she owe. Her husband has funders. That's the reason why she's constantly working. Okay, he's making investments. She makes way more money than him. So she's constantly out on the road, having to constantly tour over and over again so that they can pay off their debts. If you don't believe that, you're a damn fool. Okay, all the investments that Jay-Z and them are making, it takes millions of dollars to make these investments. She makes more money than him on tour. So with that being his wife, I mean, it's almost like pimps and hoes. Okay, he put making her the workhorse to pay off his debt, his tabs, and that's exactly what's going on. Okay, so and then she's got him around her. She said herself when she was younger, one of the things that she liked about him was how easy it was for him to turn people off. Like he would make a decision and he was firm about it. He didn't want to talk no more about it. He could fire somebody and he didn't want to talk anymore about it. I mean, he's basically raised her up. Okay. Because he was like 12, 13 years older than her when he got with her. So he's, she's caught on to a lot of those characteristics. She's got him in her ear. Okay. And a lot of other people, and it could, and her, she's older now. I'm sure they're two of the same at this point. Okay. So, they're, listen, like I said, it's a wicked game out here. It is, it's wicked. So that's why people need to take care of themselves. Okay. People need to take care of themselves. All right. Anyways, you guys, I just wanted to talk about that. I want you guys to please like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to support the channel, you could definitely support the channel via Cash App.